In this module, you will learn how to use the blue operation keys on your TI-83 or 84 calculator. We will begin with a simple example of entering 3 plus 4 into the calculator. To begin, simply press 3. Next, you will press the plus on the right-hand side of the calculator. Now you will enter the second term in our expression, which is 4. To display the result on your screen, press the Enter key. Now we will try a more complicated example to illustrate the order of operations in your TI-83 or 84 calculator. We often have to enter more complicated arithmetic expressions using parentheses. Remember, parentheses are first on the list in the order of operations. Therefore, you cannot leave off the parentheses. Otherwise, it will change your answer. For example, parentheses 3 plus 4, close parentheses, minus 5 times 7 would be entered in the following way. First, enter the left parentheses by pressing the button above the 8 key. Next, you will enter 3 plus 4, just as we did in the previous example. Then you will enter the right parentheses by pressing the button above the 9 key. Enter the subtraction sign from the right-hand column on your calculator. Next, enter 5 times 7. No parentheses are required. To see the result, press Enter. A neat little trick you can use to repeat an entry that you have just made on your calculator is to use the second Enter button. Let's see what happens when we try it in this example. Notice that your calculator automatically repeated the entire expression. Having the calculator repeat an expression in this fashion can be useful when you want to change something in the expression without having to retype the entire thing. To change an entry in the expression, use the gray or blue arrow keys at the top of your calculator to move through the expression until you reach the area you want to change. It is very important to note that the calculator distinguishes between subtraction and a negative number. Even though we may consider it the same thing, the calculator does not. When you enter a subtraction, use the blue subtraction key, gray on the TI-84 Silver Edition. This is the key above the plus key. When you enter a negative number, use the paren, negative, close paren, located to the left of the Enter key. If you attempt to use the negative key for subtraction, you will get an error message. The following example will show you this error. Note that I've changed the subtraction key to the negative key. Then I will press Enter to see the result. In this example, we did not get an error message from the calculator, but we did get an incorrect answer. The calculator presumed that we wanted to multiply the sum of 3 plus 4 times negative 5. Therefore, it gave us an incorrect answer. Be sure to use the minus key, the subtraction key, and not the negative number key in this type of example.